Hey guys, welcome to the KickBack FC. Thank you for joining us once again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Welcome back to the Kickback FC, your go to spot for unfiltered real talk, all things soccer. Here, you've got it all. We'll be breaking down the hottest takes, the biggest moments, and everything that you need to stay tapped into the world's game. Again, this is another special World Cup episode coming to you live here in 2026 summer. Whether this is your first time with us or you've been rocking with us from the jump, again, just want to say thank you to all of our friends and supporters. We've seen all the buzz that we've been getting this World Cup, and it's been very fun to interact with everybody. Once again, my name's Cornelius. I'm joined by my boys and fellow co-hosts. Salam, how you feeling?
I feel good, man. Excited to pod tonight. Gabriel, how are you?
Chilling, man. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you, Cornelius?
Good, man. It was good to see y'all on Monday. It was drove down to Columbus to watch the U.S. men's national team take on Belgium. It was a little lackluster. It was not what we fully expected. Maybe not me. It's not what I expected. I don't know about everybody else on the pod, but it was good to have an event on the ground, see some of our friends, see some of our supporters. Again, thank you to Fido's Irish Pub down in Columbus. It was just a great environment overall. We had a lot of fun there, and you know, actually, speaking about it, I know it's in our notes, but we might as well just start about with the U.S. men's national team. Boys got smacked up. There was a lot of controversy surrounding the match itself, just because of the Balogun red card that got overturned. Let me not say overturned, but the suspension got postponed for a year, and so we did get Balogun starting for the men's national team. But I don't know, man. Belgium was playing with a little bit more energy. They're playing with a fervor that I don't know if we expected or were ready for. Their first goal kind of summed up what the rest of the match would look like. We just looked unprepared. We looked a little bit not ready. We looked a little bit shocked as well. I don't know if the men's team thought that Belgium was going to come out as fast and as quick as they did, but we just did not look ready for their team. And I think 4-1 is very appropriate for the way that we played. Never really looks like we found our way into the match. Again, they scored first 10 minutes, and we were able to equalize, but then got scored again right after, not even 5 minutes. So I don't know what really went on leading into that match. I'm not sure if it was the buzz around, the controversy of the card. I'm not sure if it was, Christian Pulisic not being 100%, but he didn't look great. I'm not really sure exactly what went on, but um, before we get into some of the other stuff surrounding the match, I kind of just want to ask y'all about the match in itself. How did you feel about the U.S. men's national team? And we kind of already talked about whether we thought that it was a success or not. That'll be coming out a little bit later. But overall, the men's national team, I think, lived up to most of our expectations. They kind of probably shocked a lot of the casual fans that were not used to seeing this team play in action. But Mike, I'll start with you. Just your overall thoughts on the match. You can keep it quick, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff.
I think the whole red card situation with getting it suspended, I think that was a huge part of it. It put a lot of eyes, it put a lot of pressure on the guys to actually come out and perform. And it, the recent history have told us these guys haven't played in these type of games enough to kind of stand the pressure. This is why it is important to me that all these guys are playing in all these little competitions, these type of competitions, the Gold Cup, even though it might not be as big as the World Cup. All these little competition kind of help you build that chemistry. It helps you build that experience in playing in big games. This was a big game for them, and I just didn't think they have the experience to come out and get the win. And I think that's what happened. I fully expected going into the game. I told you in the last episode I didn't really buy what Belgium was giving us, but now when I look back, I kind of underestimated their experience and their know-how. They've been in these positions way too many times than the US have. So for them, this was just another game, but for the US, this was one of the biggest games they've played in a long time. So I think the pressure got to them. They just were not made for the moment, and the moment was too big for them. That's my takeaway.
I mean, this is nothing new, man. I've been telling everybody about this squad for years, bro. Anytime that this squad faces some type of adversity, whenever they have a challenge, bro, they fail. Only time I haven't seen this squad fail is when we won the Gold Cup. It's what 4 years, 3 years ago or so, 6 years ago. I don't even know when the Gold Cup was, but the last time we didn't fail was the Gold Cup. We haven't succeeded any other time. If you ask me, we haven't progressed as a nation at all. If you want to ask, if you're talking to me, we haven't progressed as a nation at all. We saw this same exit with Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan and Tim Howard and them. And honestly, they played a better match than this. I mean, this was embarrassing, bro. Like, not only did we lose, we got smacked up. And it was clear like the levels were just not there whatsoever. Full Balogun or not, we were losing this match. Pulisic or not, we were losing this match. Healthy or not, losing this match. Um, I think it goes to show Belgium didn't even respect us. Doku, De Bruyne didn't even start. They knew they had this in the bag, bro. This is who this U.S. team, national team is. This is who they've always been. And we just saw it on a world stage. Whenever we get put up against a real top nation, a real footballing nation, it's smacked up, bro. We get smacked up. So nothing new for me. It is what it is, bro. I expected this wholeheartedly. So
Yeah, the loss was deflating for me, especially when you consider all the positivity going into, you know, the game, all the positivity surrounding the team all tournament. I do think the stuff that, the controversy with the decision of the red card being overturned had a big part to play because they just seemed they didn't have that same confidence that they had in like the first half of the Paraguay game and the first half of the Australia game. And even I would say the Turkey game as well too, even though it was a rotated squad. It just seemed like, and I don't know, maybe Belgium is just that much better than us. But I also feel like the stuff, like the decisions that happened, had a big part to play in it. And it just didn't help. There was already a lot of pressure on us, to succeed, whatever success looked like for everyone. But I don't think that that helped. And yeah, we came up against a Belgium side that, we didn't even think was like that special. I agree with you, Mike. But well, they showed us that we still have ways to go. And this is the team that we're saying that's like, well, they're not even that great. And I'm like, well, damn, if they're not that great, then like, how far are we? But
that's what I begin trying to say, bro. We're years off it. We are so off it, bro. We haven't progressed in 12, 16 years.
yeah,
Literally, we have not progressed.
what I will say though is, I think this World Cup we learned a lot about this team though. I think, going into the tournament, I think we have an idea of who our best player is. And Christian Pulisic, obviously, he's getting a lot of criticism now for just his performance throughout the tournament. And it's crazy because he looked great that first half versus Paraguay. Clearly, he's not healthy, or he wasn't healthy, which is unfortunate of the timing. But I think we learned a lot about this team, about the future, and who our best players really are. Because I'm looking at guys like Balogun, I'm looking at guys like Malik Tillman, I'm looking at guys like Weston McKennie. Ever since he's stepped foot on the first team, he's been consistent. You know, regardless of what his club form looks like. Tyler Adams too. The last game was a little difficult for him and everybody, but I don't know, man. Chris Richards is another guy that has had a good tournament, but I don't know. And then just like the Matt Freeze mistake, like that's tough. And I'm sorry to be long winded, but it's a lot, man. We got a reality check for sure.
Did you guys have an issue with what Christian Pulisic said after the game, his post game interview? Because a lot of people are giving him, a lot of shit for, just acting kind of nonchalant and making the moment like it wasn't a big moment for the national team because
For
he
I
the
was
mean,
for the,
saying something
for
about
people that don't know, Kadosh, can you just read the quote?
yeah.
okay, sorry. Mike, keep going. I'll pull up the quote.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, U.S. Former, U.S. men's national team and the women's team have came out and kind of criticized him because I feel like the first 4 games, everybody was okay with what he did. He did have a really bad game. I mean, 11 lost dribbles, turnovers. It's insane. But I feel like right after the U.S. loss, now everybody is coming out and saying something. But I just pointed back to the last Gold Cup when the main guys didn't show up. They needed to be in that tournament, and that's where to me I feel like everything really started. But you could go ahead and read the quote.
Yeah, so Pulisic was being interviewed by Jenny Taft after the loss to Belgium, and she kind of asked him about his overall play and how he was feeling, and he responded with quote, "I just twisted my ankle or sprained my ankle. It's just frustrating to end like that, of course, but now I get time to rest, so it'll be okay." Um, to be honest, I I understood what he was saying. Um, Obviously, he didn't play our second match against Australia at all. He only played 30 minutes against Turkey. Um, Obviously, he was not 100%. He did play 90 minutes against Bosnia, but then it was also pulled in that Belgium match pretty early. Personally, I don't really have an. Uh, so here's what I'll say. I don't really have anything much to say about what he said, but it's the tone and it's the history with this guy. We talked about it earlier. This was a guy that sat out last year during the Gold Cup because he wanted to rest. He was coming off an injury then too, and he said, "You know what? This is the one summer that I have off. The last 4 or 5 years I've been going high octane. I'm not 100%. I think I can take this tournament off so I can come back next summer, hopefully 100% healthy, and I can help this team go as far as possible." He came in this tournament not 100% again. So I feel like people were kind of already using their past experiences of him kind of bailing on the US. And then they're like, okay, well, you bailed on us last year. We lost in the finals. This year, we're going to need you because you are the best player on the team. And unfortunately, he got hurt. But what I will say is it's the attitude and it's the tone, bruh. You, whether you want to be Captain America or not, these Americans, these pundits, the world is looking at you as Captain America for this U.S. men's national team, whether you want to be or not. And you know, not to be cliche, but with great power comes great responsibility, bro. You have to be the guy to step up. And sometimes it sucks. Yeah, we know it. It sucks being a leader sometimes because you go down with the shit. If we win, everyone's looking at you for the praise and adulation. But if we lose, they're also going to ask you the questions, the tough questions, the hard questions. And to be honest, I just think whatever happened to Pulisic in this last year, 18 months with the U.S. men's national team, there's a rift. Obviously, you know, a lot of the old U.S. men's national team players, U.S. women's team players have chimed in as well and kind of talked about his attitude, kind of talked about how he doesn't seem like he's 100% in for the U.S. men's national team. And I don't know all that to be true. But what I will say is if it isn't true, you ain't acting like it. You ain't showing nobody that you care for this team. You ain't showing nobody that you're ready to put it all on the line for the men's national team. And whether or not you believe that you are, your actions ain't showing it. And then you come with this nonchalant attitude. Oh, okay, we lost. It's whatever. But now I can get some rest, bro. You got rest last year. That was your excuse last year, and this year this is why everybody's on you because it seems that you don't care for the team. And then when you get that criticism, you roll up into a little ball, or you get your dad to go on social media and start talking to staff and ex players, and there's all this going on. But at the end of the day, your product on the field isn't what we expect, and it's not to your level. It's not even that it's not what we expect. It's not to the level that you've shown that you could be at. So for me, I don't necessarily have a problem with what he said, but I have a problem with how he said it and how he's acting, bro. He's acting like a privileged school child, and then when you bring it up, he wants to act like it's everyone else's fault. And with that, it's tough for the team because again, this is a team that is extremely young. Tim outside of Tim Ream, the core of our team is 27 or younger. So this is a team that still probably has 2 or 3 World Cups together still. And with you being the core of this team, it's kind of tough. But But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating for him, but like the one thing that's been a constant with him is that, you know, his availability is kind of in question, especially like in these moments where like, you do need him. And look, it's unfortunate, bro. Like you can't help if you're hurt, but it's clear that like the first half versus Paraguay, like everything looked so good, bro. That he looked unplayable that first half. But again, everybody looked good. So, but him specifically, like when I'm looking at him, I'm like, wow, that was a great 45 minutes. You get subbed off. Okay, he's hurt. We didn't even need him at that point in the game. But I don't know, man. It's like
Yeah.
just World Cup on home soil. This was really the one where we were looking at, you to kind of, you know be the leader to take us forward. But like I said, I think we learned a lot about this team and who we can probably rely on more consistently going forward. And that's no disrespect to him, but in the biggest moments, like you be hurt, bro. Like it's tough.
But then, Salam, you say you looked 45 minutes great against Paraguay. Bro, it's Paraguay. This is what I
Yeah,
be
but
saying, bro. Like, no, like Salam, anyone can
Gabriel,
go and
but
look
like you
great
can play.
against a nation that's not that great.
No, I hear
He can
you,
look
but
great against Bosnia. Bro, when you play real competition, what do you look like? Who are you? Our team
no, but
looked like trash.
I'm
Like
not.
the
We're not
entire
talking.
squad.
We're not.
And I'm not
We're
just
not.
saying specifically him, but I'm just saying in general, if you're our leader, you're supposed to be leading by example on the pitch and off the pitch. You did
I,
neither.
I
So
hear what
for
you're
me,
saying.
like all these performances and all of these, oh, you look great here. Bro, anyone can look good against weaker nations. What do you look
Nah,
like?
let's not. Nah, bro. Let's not do that.
It's the
That's not
truth. It's
fair.
the
No,
truth.
that's not
It
fair,
is
bro.
fair,
These are
Salam.
still.
It is
You
fair.
can only play,
A
Gabriel.
lot
You
of
can only
players can.
play.
Yes, you can
You
play. You
can
can only
only
play
play the
who you.
games in front of you.
A
Like it
hundred
doesn't.
percent.
You can't. You
A
can't
hundred
control that.
percent.
We didn't want. We didn't pick Paraguay. We didn't like. Yes, at some point. Hey, guess what? If we were to be Belgium, you know who we would have had to play? Like we would have probably had to play Spain. We would have probably play like one of the top teams. Like we can't control who was in our group. We couldn't control who we got in the knockout round. We got like a favorable matchup for us, and we took care of business there. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying with him, he did look good versus Paraguay because you know what? He could have easily not looked good because if you remember, we just talked about it from and Cornelius. I remember us talking about this when the Serie A league started last year. He was one of the best players, and then 2026 came, and then from 2026 to the summer, it was just poor. And then the first game versus Paraguay, you come back to like your first like consistent run of games, and you look like that. It's like, oh shit, bro, he's back. And then 45 minutes later, you're out injured. That's the frustrating part for me. But like, you can only control what you can control. We can't we can't decide who's on the schedule. But I feel you. Anytime that we've came up against adversity, you know, it's been looking slow. The Senegal game was the only game where I was like, okay, cool. I mean, even that was a friendly, but still, like, Senegal's a good team. That was a good performance. We all walked away from that singing, like, wow, you know what? Up until this point, the World Cup qualifiers, it wasn't looking good for us. But that Senegal game, we were at Sycamore saying, hey, man, that was different from what we were expecting. Because I thought we were going to get thumped by Senegal. But I hear what you're saying, though. Like, I'm not. Listen, the Belgium game, everybody saw it. I saw it. I was with you. We like it was very telling who the better team was on the day.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, not to harp on the U.S. men's national team, but this was at the end of the day their best showing, whether we think so or not. Round of 16 exit. We've been here before. We kind of hoped that they would make it to the quarterfinal for the first time since what, like 2002, I believe. But it didn't happen,
Mhm.
bro. And from here, this is where you have to start going back, looking at what worked, looking at what didn't work, and preparing for the next big tournament. And so for me, I want to end it here. I asked y'all this, at the end of the loss, but if you guys could give Pochettino a grade based on what you've seen in this World Cup, Gabriel, I'll start with you. What would you grade Pochettino on the 2026 World Cup?
D plus.
Mike?
I think a B, a solid B.
So,
I honestly would probably give him an A minus because last Gold Cup you didn't have your best players. There's a lot of expectations. We performed well, and I'm not gonna downplay the pressure that I think was put on the team by the stuff that happened outside. I think he dealt with a lot of nonsense, and sometimes that stuff gets overlooked. So for that case, I think you guys are right. Maybe I'm just exaggerating. I think a B is fair.
yeah, I think B plus. I honestly think B plus. I think tactically he got a lot of things right. Turkey game again, he was rotating players, but from what I saw in that Bosnia game and from what I saw in the Belgium game, I actually thought that with everything on the line, he put our players in the best positions to win. Um, some of the subs maybe could have happened a little bit earlier, a little bit differently, but I think at the end of the day, he had a pretty good showing. So I think on aggregate, that's like a B plus A minus that he just got. So for his first World Cup with the team, I think that's pretty good.
I
But
said a D plus. I did not say a B plus.
oh, you said D
You
plus,
I
said
said
D
D
plus?
plus. A D.
as in dog shit.
Dog.
Oh
Wow.
Yes. D
wow,
All
plus.
right,
No,
no,
that's
no, no.
harsh.
Y'all
Yeah,
are
bro.
bugging.
Wait,
wait. So
No,
bro, I swear I
listen,
thought you
listen,
said
listen.
D.
I'm so
I
surprised
swear.
by you guys' like high reactions. We have not progressed. I see no progression.
No,
So
no, no,
for a
no,
manager to
Gabriel,
come in,
Gabriel. No,
well,
no,
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 no.
no, 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 no. Wait.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not
Go ahead.
asking about the U.S. men's national team. I'm asking about Pochettino as a manager. So if you look at our previous World Cup managers, this is the farthest we've been since at least we've been alive. 02, I wasn't
Yeah.
really aware enough to like notice what was going on,
I feel you.
but when you look at the managers and how they manage the U.S. men's national team, you think
Oh,
he
so
got
not their
he,
performance. So not their performances.
no,
Just
the
Pochettino.
performance is part of him managing. I'm talking about everything from when he became our manager up until now. Think about it. Last year we lost the Gold Cup. That was his first major tournament with us. And then
Hmm.
now, this is now the World Cup 2026. The US is done. He won 5 out of his 6 games or
So
4 out of
this
his
is
6.
all encompassing since he's become manager of the U.S. men's national team.
Yes.
That's what you're asking.
This is
His
all encompassing.
okay.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is all.
And again, take into account that you didn't have us getting out of the group stage, so that's at least a C. You didn't
That's
have
what
us
I was
getting
gonna
out
go
of the group
to.
stage,
I'll
so
give him
that's at
a
least
C.
a C
I'll give him a
minus.
solid C, a
I,
75%.
I swear I thought you said B, bro. I
No,
I
I said a
did. I
D
swear.
did
plus.
too.
I said a D plus. No, D
So
plus.
okay,
But
so to go
fine.
back to
But
B,
if this is all encompassing, sure, I'll give him a C.
and I don't want to go. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but why would you originally give him a D plus? Means a D plus means we don't get out the group stage. To be honest,
A D plus. D's get degrees. He got out the group stage. D's get degrees. He got out the group stage, and you know
Yeah.
you handled Bosnia, which is something that you should have handled. But again, this isn't success. D's get degrees, so in expectations, sure, you succeeded with what we expected. But did you succeed as a
you didn't
squad? Did you
expect them to get
succeed?
out the group.
I didn't expect them to get out the group. Sure, 100%. That doesn't change my grade, Noise. Doesn't change my grade. I
It
haven't.
should.
We
It
have not
honestly should.
progressed. It doesn't though. It doesn't because this team is just as weak as they were when Len and Donovan and Clinton were there. Like this is. I've seen no progression as a nation with the U.S. men's national team in over 16 years. No progression. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any in terms of where we're going as a nation and beating squads that have a little bit of stature or anything like that. Even putting up a fight, we put up more of a fight 16 years ago, 12 years ago than we did this World Cup. So how would I sit here and say, "Oh, this manager really put this together"? And no. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm the harsh one, but no, bro. I'm not going to sit
Nah,
here and try to sugarcoat
you're entitled to your
what
own.
reality is. Reality is you guys got smacked, not even knocked out. You guys got smacked up. You're not even a Cape Verde. We took you guys to the bitter end, and it's close. You guys have the home crowd. The 95% of the whole stadium's American. You got finessed, and you got one of your best players back, and you look like this, and then you want me to B plus? No, bro. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry. I don't have any
No,
time
I
to waste
mean,
with this
I mean, you have a point. You have a
Nah.
point. I think
I'll be
we
the
all.
bad guy on this, and I'll always be the bad guy when it comes to criticizing this team. I'm not having it, bro. Simply, I'm not having it. This is poor. This is poor to me. It's poor.
I said Pochettino. I did not say the team.
I hear you, Pochettino. We look at successes and we look at managers and when we look at all of our club teams, when our clubs finish at a certain level, when our clubs finish here, when our clubs finish there, what do we say? We look at the manager first. We look at the manager first. I'm looking directly at Pochettino.
No, I'm
So
not
for
mad at it. I
sure,
was just curious.
I'll give him a C for all encompassing since he's taken over the job till now. But if it's just talking about the World Cup, D plus. But sure, all encompassing, I'll give him a C.
That's an interesting scale, but it is what it is. So getting away from the U.S. men's national team, there were a lot of other storylines going on with this round of 16. It seems now that the tournament's at this stage, stories just seem to keep popping up out of the woodwork. But I do want to start with FIFA launching an investigation on Argentina versus, in their match versus Egypt. There were some racial comments made towards I Show Speed with Argentinian fans, and I kind of just wanted to get your take on that because we've talked about this at length about how something happens, a racist comment is made, whether it be on social media or in the fan or at the stadium itself, and we always say there's no place for that, and so what do you expect to come out of this investigation that FIFA is having, and do you think that we will continue to see this as the tournament goes on because Argentina's still in the tournament? I mean, this was the Argentina fan base. And Mike, I'll start with you. Do you think this is something that FIFA will nip in the bud before the end of the tournament, or do you think they'll wait until the tournament's done before they say anything?
um, to be honest, I've been disappointed with this Argentinian team in terms of all these racist kind of just incidents, racist incident after one after the other. I feel like it tells you a lot about their culture. It tells you a lot about their country. I mean, this is a World Cup. This is a celebration of countries. We all come together, have fun, enjoy our teams in 1 month of the summer. Okay, he was supporting Egypt. I don't think that just warrants racist and racial just behavior towards him. It just is so unsettling that this team is probably going to go far. They're probably not going to do anything about it because what are you going to do? Try to find the fans and prosecute them? Like, what are you going to do? I don't expect anything concrete to come out of this. I really don't. It's going to be swept under the rug. Oh, in our findings, they'll come up with something, and nobody's going to be held accountable. And we'll see it happening. We'll see it happening. This is the same Argentinian team that were singing on the bus when they won last World Cup. I mean, I'm actually not surprised. I don't expect anything to happen. To be honest with you, I don't. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. It's unfortunate that like a great I mean, I've never been to Argentina, but like in terms of football, like they're a great footballing nation. I assume that the country is great as well too. And I'm not saying that all their people is like this, but like Mike said, you guys are always in some sort of incident like this,
Hmm.
Like why is it always you guys? Whether it be players on the bus like Enzo Fernandez or, this guy, trying to get under speed skin. And I would probably assume it was probably at a point where Egypt were up. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like a tactic to try and, and that's the unfortunate part. If you're a person of color, like that's, like those racist like remarks is like, that that's going to hit, and it's like, I don't know. I'm not saying that there should be like a reciprocated like word or a gesture or anything, but like, it's just unfortunate that you guys are always at the center of stuff like this. And I thought that Speed handled it very well. And I think that, like
He
he's a
did.
pretty notable figure. So, for someone like that to be at the center of, racism, I think shows that anybody can be racially abused. But I was happy with the way that he handled it. And honestly, Speed has been a great ambassador of football here in the States. So shout out to him 100%.
Yeah, and just on that same topic, so it was said that one of the rules in this World Cup tournament was that players would get an immediate red during the game if they were seen to cover their mouth while talking to another player on the opposing team. We've seen Hincapie early in the tournament get a red card for doing that gesture, when they were playing Mexico. And apparently the coaches were told that if they put it up an X during the match, that would signify that the coach himself saw something or heard something that should call the ref over. And during the match, the Egypt coach put his hands in that X symbol, indicating that he heard something or saw something during the match, and he was actually handed a yellow card. And so there's a lot of controversy surrounding the refereeing around Argentina specifically, and them getting away with calls, them not being looked at for certain calls. What's y'all take on that, Gabriel? I'll start with you.
I mean, I think there's some basis to these claims, and it's not even just from this World Cup; it's last World Cup too. I mean, the game against the Netherlands last year, the knockout phase match with the Netherlands in the 2022 World Cup was, I mean, Messi was on a yellow and had a clear handball, like a handball that you get yellow carded for. Like when you handball is blatant like that, you get a yellow card for that, and ref didn't do anything. You can look at this tournament, Messi studs on a guy's calf, not even a VAR check. There are a lot of things. I'm not just saying it's Argentina, but again, as Salam said, you guys' names just always happen to pop up when controversies, is being had and things are going on. So I'm not saying it's just them. Obviously, refs aren't perfect; they miss calls. I'm not saying VAR is perfect; they miss things too. And we've seen that on the club level and the international level as well. But it just seems that this tournament, it's been almost every match. Something's been talked about, and something's been brought up. There's videos being posted, and things of that sort. So, I'm not saying that it's concrete. It's for sure there. I think that the FBI launching an investigation into the squad is, I think it's to the federation, I should say, the Argentinian Federation, Football Federation. I think that's a very serious investigation, something that the FBI feels like they need to dig deeper into. So we'll see what comes of it. But I think it's a classic saying of, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not saying that they may be completely guilty. I'm not saying they're guilty at all, but I think there's potentially something fishy going on. Same thing, we could say with Manchester City and these charges. Maybe not all 100 charges are proven true, but where there's smoke, there's probably a little bit of fire too. So I think it's a serious investigation. I'm curious and would love to see how it turns out, but I think it's worth a shot after kind of what we've seen over the past 4 years, man. It's some of it's been a little egregious in my eyes. So
Yeah, I think the FBI getting involved is very concerning, and I think that that's like something that can really like alter your trajectory in terms of like the mentality in the locker room. Like that's no small investigation. The FBI, you're being investigated by the FBI. So I mean, yeah, that's uh that's difficult. I'm not quite. I was seeing your guys' conversation about this in the group chat. I'm kind of with Yasser. I'm not quite to the point of like something's going on, but there's been a lot of coincidences, and you guys just always happen to just get away somehow. You know, I love Lissandro Martinez, but my goodness, that was not a foul, bro. That's tough, man. That's tough. That's
Yeah, and I
tough.
don't. Yeah, I don't want to harp on this Argentina game, but it was just a lot that happened in that match.
Yeah,
Egypt goes up, the goal gets called back for a foul that happened 10, 15, 20 seconds before, all the way on the opposite end of the pitch. And then on the other end, you get a goal from Argentina where there was potentially a foul on the other end and no VAR review. Mike, we've seen a lot of egregious VAR calls, whether it be in the Premier League, we've seen it in Champions League as well, all over Europe. And I've never really been the biggest fan of VAR. I think it's a crutch, and I think every year when they change the rules, it just makes it less and less. Um, it's just more confusing on what VAR can review, what they can't review. And I thought initially with all these rule changes for the World Cup that it would be a little bit more standardized. But here again, we're seeing that from game to game, from ref to ref, we're seeing it used differently. And so, what do your overall thoughts on how VAR has been implemented and used in this World Cup?
I think most of the fans, our frustration is the consistency. Just call it the same way. Why is it that some refs call it this way, other refs call it the other way? I mean, I for the most part, I don't think there's been a lot of like controversy necessarily. It's just been with certain games and like certain teams and certain players. I feel like the Messi one, the first game they played against Algeria, that one was just unbelievable. Why is it not reviewed? And then you had the Balogun one, pretty much the same foul. That one was reviewed. So that's the frustration. Where is the consistency? If you're gonna do it for this team, do it for the other team. Same way, Egypt game. I mean, it was just almost that one. It's just unbelievable because we just watched Egypt's goal get taken away because of a foul. It happened to the opposite team. Nothing happened. So the inconsistency, I feel like, is the frustration. If we can get some level of consistency in these calls, I think most fans will be okay with VAR because VAR has been good to all of us. It's been good to all our club teams, our countries, whatever. We've all been in positions where VAR calls went our way or our team's way. So we've all benefited one way or the other from VAR. But can we keep it consistent? Can we make the calls pretty much standardized that okay, if you do this, this is the result? And it's not like that. So frustration will keep growing until we get some level of consistency in these calls.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel like I don't know. I agree. I think and we had Guido, on here. Shout out pro referees here in the United States, and that's one thing that he harped on, the consistency, and that's kind of why we brought that question up because we've seen VAR been implemented and used a lot of different ways in a lot of different leagues and all these different tournaments, and I feel like as a casual fan, when you don't necessarily understand when and where VAR can be used, and you don't really understand the offsides rule and how cards are given, it can get confusing. And I feel like as you get more eyes on the sport, you want the product to be as good as possible. And as we keep getting these controversial VAR calls and red cards and cards not being even looked at or reviewed, it just gets confusing for us as people who watch week in week out. But it also may turn new fans away because they don't see the consistency either. So no, I think that's a good point. I think consistency is the name of the game, and they have to get better. Everybody, they just got to get better at how this technology will be used to call games and officiate in the future. But before we actually get into the games themselves, it's summer, man. I know the World Cup's going on, but this transfer season has been bracking. Um, a lot of big moves already. We've seen Nathaniel Brown officially get the move to Bayern Munich. We've seen Saibari get the move to Bayern Munich. Denzel Dumfries went over to Real Madrid. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on right now. But the most recent one, you know, Andre Santos, my Chelsea brother. Sad to see you go, man. I know it was short lived, but you did your thing for us in the midfield. When we needed you, you stepped up. We had a lot of injuries this year, and we needed every single player to play. Salam looks like he's gonna be coming to your side. Finna be a Red Devil here in a little bit. Just your thoughts. I know we didn't really get to see him over the summer, but your thoughts on this transfer to your team, and what do you expect his role to be on the United?
I like the Andro Santos signing. I think that it's a good signing. This is a guy who is young and has a lot of potential. Um, from the few games I've seen him play at Chelsea, I liked what I saw. Obviously, he's behind Caicedo, Reece James when he plays there. I guess Enzo when he plays there as well too. I guess Lavia, but um, no, I like him, and I think this year is going to be a big year for him. Obviously, the move to United, but I fully expect him to be a part of this next era of Brazil. So, leading up to the Copa America and then eventually 2030 World Cup, I fully expect him to be, a part of this Brazil team. So I like the signing. I mean, this is the guy who has a lot of room to grow as a player, but I don't think that he's like enough though. I still think that we need guys that have like a little bit of experience. Like so. I mean, I like the signing, but hopefully, there's more signings to come. And it's concerning that, a lot of our top targets have kind of went to rival teams. We were in for Fernandez, the guy from West Ham. He went to Spurs, right? Elliot Anderson went to Man City. Traumini just signed a new deal. So here we are now, landing on Andre Santos, which again is a good signing, but hopefully there's more to come because we need more midfielders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my bad. I was saying, man, I think he's a good player. He's kind of like Enzo Fernandez, where you don't really know what his best attribute is, but he's really kind of just 7 out of 10 at everything. The guy can play with both feet, passing the ball. He's good at defending. He's good at advancing the ball through the midfield and finding the open player in the attacking third. He's a workhorse. He's young. He has a motor, so he can play a full 90 minutes. Again, he wasn't a normal starter for us, so I didn't get to see him week in, week out, but when he did play, he was playing 90 minutes. He didn't seem that he was someone that, would have a lot of injury issues. So I think you got a solid, midfielder. You got a solid six. He can also play the eight if you need him to, do a little bit of Joga Bonito in the attacking third. So I think you got a good player, man. This is the same way I felt when Nani Madueke went to Arsenal. I was a little upset because I thought that, his story had just started at Chelsea. I thought he was a player that would be with us for the long haul. But sometimes when these teams keep calling and you see yourself maybe taking on a bigger role, you do what you got to do. So, best of luck to Mr. Santos, and I hope you do well, except when you play Chelsea. But let's get into these games a little bit, man. We have some very, very spicy matchups in this quarterfinal round of the 2026 World Cup. I kind of do it how I did last time. We'll talk about each team and what their keys will be to advancing into potentially the semifinal of this World Cup, and then kind of just get everybody's take on who they think will win the match. So, you know, first match coming up here tomorrow. Very, very exciting France versus a very, very exciting Morocco. This French team at this point, I think everybody has them going to the final. They just look like the best team in the tournament right now. They keep scoring, and even though they had their first game that they didn't score 3 goals against Paraguay, they still figured out a way to get it done, and through all the dark arts of Paraguay, trying to time waste and all the fouling and, the controversy after the match with Mbappe and all that's going on there. This is a team that just seems to be playing with house money, bro. They're looking really good right now. And then, same thing with Morocco. I know they had the injury to Saibari in their last match, but like I said, this was the game where Brahim Diaz finally stepped up to assist. Hakimi's looking like the best defender in the world right now. It's flying up and down the flank. Um, this is a team that has shown that they're not just the best team in Africa; they are one of the best teams in the world. And this is going to be a very, very high octane fireworks type match. Gabriel, I'll start with you. Keys for France. What do you think that France needs to do to continue this dominance and move on to the semifinal?
Keys for France. I mean, it's not for nothing, bro. They need to keep their heads against these five Argentinian refs. Just to be completely honest, for those who don't know, the match, the first time this has ever happened in FIFA history. Again, like I said, I'm not saying Argentina is guilty. All I'm saying is, uh, this is the first time that we've ever seen this in the competition where all five refs, every single ref, is from one nation, and that nation happens to be Argentina. Argentina beat France in the World Cup last year. Um, and they're probably France's biggest rival right now in terms of who's going to be winning the World Cup. So I think rule number one is truly they need to get through that. And really, I really don't have notes for France. Their biggest thing is really to just not get hit on the counter. As we know, this Moroccan team is very, very good on the counter. They're okay with suffering a little bit and playing on the counter. Obviously, Brahim Diaz is kind of stepped up in this last match. So, for me, France is just continue to do what you've been doing. They've been finishing their chances. Yeah, I really don't have too many notes for France. It's pretty status quo for them. They know what they need to do. This is a team that's been to two World Cup finals. They've won one in the past two World Cups. Um, they know exactly what they need to do. They know that they need to try to contain Hakimi. Again, that'll be another note for me. Can try to contain Hakimi. A lot of it goes through him. Obviously, they have other players that are of quality too, but that's their captain, that's their leader, that's the guy that they rely on heavily, not only defensively but also offensively. So I think a lot of the onus will be on Mbappe to really, and not even on Mbappe, but on their left winger to really try to attack Hakimi and to try. I mean, it's hard to tire him out, but really try to make him work defensively, and make him, you know, try to kind of limit what he can do offensively. So, yeah, really just status quo for them. Deal with the refs, deal with Hakimi, and I think France has really a solid chance on going through.
And then Mike, this Moroccan team, we've been hyping them up. I think now that they are the last African team in the tournament, we're all kind of
Hmm.
rooting for them, in our heart of hearts. But keys for you, um, for Morocco to make it to another semifinal.
Uh, Unahi stepped up very big in the last game. He's going to need to kind of replicate that performance. Rahimi missed some chances I feel like he should have put away, even though he got his goal. But he's good enough, I feel like, to lead this attack. I think it's going to come down really to finishing your chances, being clinical, because France has showed us that they can score in many ways. They can adapt to whatever game plan they have to get the win. So Morocco, you have to put your chances away. You're not going to. You will get your chances, but on the other side, you have deadly weapons that can find magic out of anything. So the chances you're gonna get, you're gonna have to finish it. That's the main thing. Morocco is gonna get their chances. This is a really good team, so they are gonna get chances, but they have to put them away.
And Salam, Battle of the Francophones, France versus Morocco. Who you got advancing to the semifinals?
I got France winning this game. Um, and the biggest reason why is I think Saibari's absence is going to be too much for Morocco. I think he's been one of the best strikers in the tournament. And, obviously, like Harry Kane is balling out, Mbappe's balling out, Messi, Holland, but this guy is up there as well, too. And, maybe he doesn't have as many goals as, some of these guys that we're talking about, but throughout the tournament, he's been, a constant for them, just, creating chances, being a problem for the opposition's back line. So for that reason alone, I'm going to go with France. I think that the Paraguay game, showed that, this France team can be slowed down. And I think Morocco will slow down. I don't think like they're just not gonna like blast Morocco the way that they've been doing all these other teams. I think that Morocco's too good for that. But I do think if Morocco has a chance. Brahim Diaz has to step up. He has to step up now. Like all eyes are on you now, boss. So, but I got France winning this game. Mbappe brace.
Mike.
I'm gonna go Morocco, man. I think this Morocco team can shock France. I do believe they have enough, even without Saibari. I think I agree with Salam. You know, Diaz has to step up. I think Unahi is also a wild card. Um, However he plays, if he has a good game, they're definitely winning this. But I'm going with Morocco, man. I have faith. I have faith in what they've done so far. I think they're really as good as we think they are. So that Paraguay game against that France game against Paraguay, it showed me that there's some holes in on this French team that you can exploit. So if Morocco is able to take advantage of their chances, they win this game. I'm going with Morocco.
G.
I'll side with you, Mike. Hey man, we see what these refs been doing.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Morocco too.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the African team, man. I think Morocco, they defend well and they can score. This is a France team with a lot of world class players, but this is also a Morocco team with some world class players and some very very good defenders. And at the end of the day, I've seen what happens when France gets a little adversity, and so with the quality, I think Morocco will be able to take them over the top. But you'd be a fool to not bet on France to score, both teams to score if you're looking for something to cash tomorrow. But yeah, man, that is a crazy game to start off the quarterfinals. Friday, July 10th, we have Spain versus Belgium. Man, this Spain team, I feel like has gotten better in every match. They're catching fire at the right time. Oyarzabal is going nuts. This is a guy who, probably wasn't a household name before this tournament if you weren't a big watcher of La Liga. But what he has been able to do, with Yamal not being, the goal scoring threat that we all kind of thought he would be this tournament, although he's playing exceptionally well, he hasn't been able to produce the goals. And at the end of the day, you have to score to win. And I think the Spanish team is finding ways to win even when their best player isn't able to put it in the back of the net. But then on the flip side, this Belgium team also has kind of gotten better in every match that they've played. Obviously, they don't have the same amount of quality. They have a little bit more of an aging squad with De Bruyne and Lukaku and some of the other guys there, but they just smacked up the U.S. They've shown that, even when the odds are against them, they want to play spoiler. And so, Salam, I'll start with you. What are Belgium's keys to potentially knocking out Spain in this quarterfinal?
I think you got to keep it tight and finish your chances. It's going to be a tall task, but um, Spain has shown that they can, give up opportunities. They still haven't conceded a goal all tournament, so that already tells you that this is going to be a solid unit defensively. So the one or two chances that you get, even if it's one chance, honestly, because that could be the difference in the game. I think you have to put it away. So um, the striker, sorry, Charlie Della Qatar. I'm sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but
The Catalan.
him, yeah, De Ketelaere, yeah, like he has to be. I would say as efficient as he was against the USA game. I felt like he didn't really do anything crazy during the USA game, and I'm not trying to like downplay like his like performance. I just felt like he was at the right place at the right time. That's what strikers do. So if you can, put your chances away, the few chances that you're gonna get, um, I think you set yourself up, for a good game.
Mike, I'm going to flip to you on the flip side. Spain, what do they need to do to get into the semifinals?
Uh, I think keep doing what they've been doing. I was a little skeptical about the lineups that have been put out so far, but it seems to be working. It seems to he seems to have a plan. Their manager seems to have a plan. So I would say keep doing what he's been doing because last game we saw Olmo and we haven't seen him a lot this tournament. So whatever rotation he does, I think he might have a reason for it. Lamine hasn't been himself. We've seen flashes of him. I would really love to see him, show himself in this game, which I think he can. I think he will have a good game this game. Um, on the other hand, I don't know, man. I feel like they still haven't been tested, and this Belgian team, they might have something up their sleeve, but I think with Spain, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep playing the way you've played so far. But chances will have to be put behind the net. If you start Ferran Torres, you might have a long day. But I'll say keep the same core that you've been playing so far.
And G, who do you have advancing in this matchup between Spain and
I have,
Belgium?
I have Spain advancing. This Belgium team is not great, even though they've caught steam this past, I guess, match and a half. We've been looking a little bit better, but I think the Spanish team is much better than them, and I think they'll be overpowered in this match. So I'm gonna go Spain.
Salam, who you got?
I got Spain. I think that they're probably the best, if not the second best team in the tournament. I think that they're way too much for Belgium.
Mike, who you got?
This is a tough one, but I'm gonna go with Belgium.
Mm,
I'm gonna go with Belgium. I feel like they have the
Wow.
right momentums. Sometimes in these tournaments, momentum can be a huge factor, and I feel like they have the right momentum right now. And Spain, have they really been tested? Maybe, but this Belgium team has something for them, and I think Belgium can pull it off. I'm gonna go with Belgium.
wow, I thought we was about to have our first clean sweep. I'm going with Spain. Yeah, just to Salam's point, this is a team that hasn't been scored on yet, and we kind of talked about this before the tournament started. We kind of were expecting Raya to get the nod over Unai Simon,
Simone.
and
Yeah.
Gabriel was like, "Nah, Simon is their number one in these big tournaments." And you know the manager sees them every day, so he obviously knows what he's doing. And Unai Simon has been one of the best keepers in the tournament. I mean, there are a lot of saves that he's made that have kept them in matches. Again,
Hmm.
clean sheets every match. So, and this, and shout out to the keepers this tournament, bro. Honestly, there have been a lot of good
Yeah.
keepers this
Hmm.
entire tournament. So, I think that's a big thing when you're a defender and you kind of know that you have somebody in the net who you can rely on in case you make a mistake. That is something huge. So yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Let's start with you, Cornelius, because Mike, you said something that made me look at Spain's schedule. Do you think Belgium is the toughest test that they've had, or they're going to have? They played Cape Verde, they played Uruguay, they played Austria and Portugal. Do you think this is the biggest test?
No, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think their biggest test, and we probably didn't know it at the time, but I think it was Cape Verde.
Mm.
Hmm.
Um, and that's nothing against Portugal because I mean Portugal played them well, but if you've seen, I mean, watching this tournament, Cape Verde was the team that won everybody's hearts. We said that in our last episode, but defensively, that team is really good, and
Hmm.
offensively, if you give them a chance, they will go and try to score on you. And I think in the last 15 minutes of that Cape Verde game, we actually saw them with a few chances and actually put the pressure on that back line. And I think it was actually a good first game for Spain because it kind of woke them up a little bit. They didn't start Yamal that game, and they paid for it. They didn't score at all that match, and it wasn't until they put on Yamal that they had chances. But then when they opened up, Cape Verde took their chances as well. And had they been just a tad more clinical, they probably could have won 1-0. A smash and grab. But I think Belgium. Um, it's weird, because this is a team that again we really didn't expect much from when they played the U.S., but then they smacked us up. And this is a team, like Mike said, they've been finding momentum and catching fire at the right time. So I do think that this right now is their biggest test. When you look at the moment, it's a quarterfinal. This is a team that's been finding momentum, finding new ways to score, been kind of leaning on Lukaku. And again, at the end of the day, we call him Timberland boots, but this guy has been scoring. So it's going to be a tough matchup for Spain. I think this probably is their toughest matchup thus far.
Yeah, I agree. I do think in this moment, yeah, it is their toughest matchup. I also agree with your Cape Verde point. We didn't know it then, but it turned out to be one of the very competitive teams so far in this World Cup. But Belgium right now, from that Senegal game to now, yeah, they have some some fire. They have some momentum, so they have some confidence too. So who knows? But I do agree. I think this is they're really their first big test.
Yeah, that's a good question, Salam. I didn't really think about that. Man, to start off our Saturday, we have a big double header, man. This is my dark horse. And if y'all remember from our preview episode, I said if there's one dark horse to make it to a semifinal, it'll be Norway. And what do you know? We have Norway in a quarterfinal against the Three Lions, England. And man, I am really excited for this one. This is the one where I will be glued to my TV. This is an England team that has escaped death twice already. This is a team that in their two knockout matches, it really could have gone either way. They had a Harry Kane just brilliant masterclass in the last 15 minutes against DR Congo, and then in their last match they they did it again. And so when I look at this English team again, not 100% healthy, but even at that they're finding ways to win. Even at that they're getting Saka with 30 minutes here and having him be that spark. They've shown a few different lineups this tournament, and although they don't necessarily get it right in the beginning, Tuchel is making those little changes and tactical, you know, things here and there to get them kind of back to the England team that we kind of all expected. And so that's why I think when I look at this match against Norway, it's really, really tricky because, again, I've said this before, but Norway got some ballers, man. Outside of their defense, which, again, a little shaky. We've seen them with some blunders here and there, but their front four, front five can compete with anybody. Nusa balling out. Odegaard. It seems like Odegaard needs to be playing with a Norwegian on his team for the rest of his life because he looks night and day, man. When he's wearing those, he's comfortable in red, but when he got that little cross going down the middle, fam, he looks different. And this was an Odegaard that really didn't play really well his first two matches in the group stage, but I think since that third game, he's gotten better and better and better. And Haaland is just he's taking it all in, man. I said this enough in the last episode, but he's really becoming I think this tournament's favorite. I think he's becoming one of the world's favorites right now, and he's playing like he's walking on sunshine right now. So, Gabriel, I'll actually start with you. Peking, what do you think that England needs to do in order to potentially bring it back home? What do you think they need to do to get to a semifinal against Norway or and beat Norway?
I think they just need to. I mean, obviously, number one is keep track of Holland at all times. Gahey will probably be starting. I'm assuming Consul will be starting as well. So those two, obviously play against him in the Prem often. They need to do exactly what they've been doing against him in the Prem, and what other teams have been trying to do to contain him. We know Holland only takes one touch for him to score. So I think rule number one is controlling Holland, and I think rule number two is trying to really decipher when to press this team. Brazil had they're unpressable. Brazil couldn't find the trigger, couldn't find the moment to press, this Norwegian team and get them out of rhythm. They have to limit Odegaard. They have to limit him getting on the ball. The more that you allow Odegaard to get on the ball, to dictate the pace of the match, to dictate, you know, to dictate the midfield, control the midfield, the tougher it is going to be for England. So I think, really it starts with those two guys, containing Holland offensively and trying. I'm not saying you necessarily have to man mark Odegaard, but this is a player that you're going to you're gonna need to press him into cut off angles to for him not to receive the ball, make him receive the ball, make him go stand next to his left back or his center back and go and receive the ball and try to create from there. The more that you let him, you know, get the ball in these pockets, in the middle of the park and leaning into, their attacking third, it'll be tough for England. And then for England, another point I would say is, I think you need to attack this defensive line. I think all three of England's attackers need to be on top of their game. Whoever, I know Kane will be in the starting lineup, obviously. I personally think Saka will be starting as well. Whoever is on that left side, whether it's Gordon or Rashford, I think everyone just needs to be productive. And needs to truly, take their 1v1 chances, take those moments where, you may have numbers and need to act quickly. So I think England's been pretty decent this tournament. Yeah, they've fallen, behind in here or there, but my biggest thing with them last match was, they played
Mexico.
Mexico. When they played Mexico, I said, hey, you guys have to start quick. And that's what they did. They started quick. They got an early goal, and I think this is a similar situation where, hey, I think you need an early goal against this Norwegian team to kind of, this Norwegian team's playing with house money right now. No one really expected Norway to get this far. They thought they'd be a good nation, but no one expected them to be in the quarterfinal. Or at least I'm not Ukrainians for sure. But I'm just saying the masses of people and football fans probably didn't expect this. So the quicker you can get that early goal, kind of hurt their spirits, and also try to make them play a little bit more expansively, that's where you can hurt them as well. You can get your wingers in 1v1 situations. You can get guys in Jude Bellingham, in 1v1 situations, and, making runs in behind and being able to drive into space, because this Norwegian team will be trying to chase the game. So the quicker you can make them try to chase the game, the better it is for you. But the longer that match goes, where Holland has a chance to potentially grab a goal and to tie it up, that's where you run into issues. So I think they kind of similar to what they did against Mexico. They need to try and dead the game early, because Odegaard and Holland and their front five are enough to really hurt you and really cause damage.
Mike, how about you? This is a Norwegian team that's just playing very free right now. What do you think their keys are in beating this English side?
There's only one guy. It's Haaland. They go whatever way Haaland goes. If Haaland has a big game, they have a chance to win this game. If England contains Haaland, it's gonna be a long game for them. Me personally, I think their back line, their defense have played really, really well. I feel like they haven't gotten the credit they deserve. I mean, their keeper, he's been phenomenal as well. But they're gonna have to stay compact. They're gonna have to be disciplined on both ends of the field. And Haaland, you give him a couple of chances, he's gonna at least put it on frame. So I think they have to contain Haaland. If they don't, uh, Norway has a chance. So it all depends on the big guy up front. If he has a good game, they definitely have a chance.
All right, and then Salam, who you got going and advancing to the semifinal?
I got England winning this game. I think that the win versus Mexico was a statement game and probably their best game of the tournament. Before that, I would probably say Congo was their best game of the tournament, and they followed that up. Going into a tough environment, um, and getting that win was huge. And I really wasn't impressed with England throughout the tournament, but I think Tuchel has done what he always done. Just he manages the tournament very well. I like the way that what he's done with Saka. You're starting to see him a little bit more, and he's damn near used everybody except for Mainu. But like everyone damn near has been a part of the team. Like I don't think that you're gonna see Nani that much going forward. I think like Saka's gonna be in the lineup and probably Gordon, honestly. And I got England winning this game. I think that Mexico game told me a lot about this team.
Gabriel, how about you?
I mean, honestly, it's a tough one. I think this is the best matchup out of the four quarterfinal matches. Is at least the one I'm most excited to watch. But I see England going through. I said, when they played Mexico, I said if they're able to get through Mexico in Azteca, I think this team will make it to the final, and I'm gonna stick by that. I got England.
Mike, how
Yeah,
about you?
I'm going with England as well. I agree with Salam. Mexico game was a huge statement, and the way they came out of that game, it's going to be tough to beat them. I'm going with England.
Damn, we ain't gonna have no clean sweeps today. I'm going with Norway, man. I'm going with who?
Mm.
Who? It's been yeah, bro. I think this team is just flying right now. And yes, I know they don't have the quality, in every single position like England has, but bro, after every game, you kind of just, the camera's been on Haaland this entire time, and every time the camera is on him, it just seems like he's just living in the moment. He's kind of looking around, he's smiling, he's like, even those shots that he misses, he's looking and he's just like, it's weird, but it's like he can't believe that he's in a World Cup. You know what I mean? Like everyone says it. These are the moments I dream for to finally play in the World Cup. But it's like, pinch me, I'm dreaming. It doesn't seem like he's finally like woken up and realized that he's actually in the World Cup, and he's kind of in this weird dream state where he's just playing crazy free. And Odegaard is. I called him no shoulder guard at the end of the first match, and he shut me up real quick. This guy looks very good. He looks like one of the best midfielders in the world, if not the best center midfielder in the world, at least at this tournament. He's been pulling strings. He just looks super offensive. And I think the fact that both of Norway's best players play in England and have found success in England, they know exactly what to do against this back line. This is a back line they're very familiar with. And so for me, I think that helps them out just a tad. I think that Odegaard and Haaland are going into this locker room saying, look, we know these guys. They're not as scary as they seem to be. So kind of just let us lead. And if you guys play the way you're supposed to play, I think that, I mean, I've been saying that. I think Norway can make it to a semifinal. I think this is going to be the upset of the quarterfinals. But yeah, I got Norway going through. And our final match Saturday as well, we will be seeing. Man, this is going to be a good one. Argentina versus Switzerland. This is we've talked enough about Argentina today, so I really don't have to say too much about this team. But Switzerland, Gabriel, shout out to you because last episode you said this was a dark horse that's kind of just flying under the radar, and they've been putting together quality wins. Even their last win, another very quality win. They pretty much controlled most of the match. They were able to do exactly what they wanted to do. This is a team again with very very quality players, and although they didn't score against Colombia, they were able to defend. And then when it got down to penalties, they just looked the better team. So I'll start with you, Salam. What do you think Switzerland's keys to potentially winning this match and going on to a semifinal are?
I think you have to approach it with the same confidence you've approached every game this tournament. That Colombia game was a statement game, and I know it finished 0-0, and they took them to penalties, but that was a tough Colombian side, and I think I don't know, man. I know Argentina like continue to find a way, but they show me that like they can kind of get got. With France, it's like, yeah, Paraguay slowed them down, but there was never a moment where I was like, oh damn, Paraguay is like the better side at the moment. With Argentina, there were moments where I was like, yo, Cape Verde is on your ass. Egypt is on your ass. You know what I'm saying? And I think Switzerland can do that as well too. I think they have a good enough team. I think you just have to approach it with the same confidence that you've approached every game. And the vibes of that team is like good. Like they have, I keep saying this, but they have like a good cohesive unit. Like from the way that they embrace each other, the way that they embrace the manager. I didn't know who he was before the tournament, but they love that guy. Every
Hmm.
time after the game, like everybody's high fiving and stuff. So like the vibes in the locker room are good. So just like you guys are here for a reason. And yes, you're playing, arguably the best team in the world right now, the reigning champs, but nah, man, just go for it. You guys can do it. I fully believe that they can get the upset here.
And then Mike, how about you? What do you think Argentina needs to do to, get back to the place they fully think they deserve?
Uh, get help from the refs. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I mean, just find Messi. At this point of the tournament, I mean, a 38-year-old man seems to be looking like he's 25 again. Just find Messi, keep, feeding him. Obviously, he has the recipe to finding these goals, which is getting kind of annoying. But I would love to see Julian Alvarez, get, the start here, see if, he can make a difference. But overall, I feel like the attack hasn't been that dangerous. It's really been messy for real, for real. So if they can find a different solution and not depend on Messi, I think they have a shot. But I expect Messi's hands to be all over this game too. So we'll see what happens.
Gabriel, how about you?
Um, I'm gonna side with you. Actually, I see an upset. I think similar to how the U.S. had so much controversy. I think the FBI and all of these things, and I think it's a lot right now. So hot on ball can only take you so far, bro. It can only take you so far. So I'm actually gonna go with the upset here. I'm gonna go with Switzerland.
Salam, who you got?
Yeah, I call for Switzerland, so I have to go through with them. I got Switzerland winning on penalties. As crazy as it sounds, if there's one person that I would task to like go up against Messi, it would be Granit Xhaka.
Man, 100%. It's all
I,
good.
I'm,
I
and it might
agree.
sound
I
crazy,
agree.
but I'm ready for that battle.
Yeah.
He is too. Not me. He is. Not me.
I'm going Switzerland too. I think Argentina can be beat, and this is the right recipe. I think Switzerland has the right recipe to do this. I'm going Switzerland too.
Wow, boys, we got our first clean sweep. I am about to
Mm.
hate watch Argentina. I'm so serious, man. Messi already got his. You feel me? Like it's okay if he doesn't get two in a row.
Let somebody else get it.
There's only been two other countries to do that, and so he's already broken too many records in my book. This one, I think we see a new winner in the World Cup this year. The way it's gone, but yeah, I think just on what you guys said, this Argentina team is good, but everything revolves around Messi. And if you can limit him, we've seen in the past that if you can limit him, this team is touchable. You know what I mean? They can get got. So limit your mistakes in the back and make the most of your chances when you get them. And I think this Switzerland team is, from top to bottom, they're a very well constructed team. I agree with you, Salam. I didn't know much about their manager either, but this is a team that's just having a lot of fun right now. And fun will take you far, man. We've seen what this France team is able to do having fun. So yeah, those are the matches that we have in the quarterfinal. Before we get out of here, though, man, we would be remiss if we didn't touch on Ronaldo and Neymar. Probably,
Ooh.
you never know what the future holds, but more than likely, played their last matches for their respective countries, and kind of just want to open the floor to y'all, and just take a little look back at their entire careers and what they've done for their country, um, and kind of just end on a good note. I'll say in our sayonaras to Neymar and Ronaldo, but these are guys that we've seen our whole lives.
Yeah.
From Cristiano Ronaldo coming to the Premier League in the 2000s to winning everything, treble, Ballon d'Or, Champions League, and then Neymar kind of being this phenom from 16-year-old down in Santos to literally coming to Barcelona and making a name for himself. This has been it's been bittersweet, bro. It lets me know that I'm actually in my 30s when I see, these guys at the end of their careers, but it's been, for them, obviously, it's been a little bittersweet. They both got knocked out in rounds where they probably didn't expect to. Um, Especially Brazil, I feel like they thought that they could take Norway. Spain and Portugal was always going to be a tough matchup, but both of these guys losing in the same round was it was kind of I wouldn't say serendipity, but it helped out. I feel like seeing them both out is just like, dang, we they could only go so far, and their careers have taken them all over the world, and they've been able to do everything. But when it comes down to this tournament, it's bittersweet because you do kind of want to see all your favorites win, but at the end of the day, it can only be one country. But Thank you, Neymar. Thank you, Ronaldo, for everything that you've done for world football. Thank you for everything you've done for your country. Um, Football, it's so funny because I remember when we first started our podcast, I think it might have been Salam, but he was just like, bro, football isn't like in the best place right now. Like, what are we gonna do when Messi and Ronaldo leave? And I think we're finally in a space now where we can look at Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Luka Modric, a lot of the old guard and say, yo, like, thank you guys for playing as long as you did, because if you guys would have left after the last World Cup, it would have been a little bit of a lull. I honestly think that. I think having these elder statesmen kind of stay in the game until 2026 kind of helped usher in this new era and these new generation of ballers. And it's been very bittersweet to see them all kind of fall off one by one. But just want to hear you guys and what you guys say to the mandem, to the OGs.
Just thank you. Honestly, nothing really else to say.
Yeah.
Thank you for the careers, the moments, a lot of moments internationally. It sucks to not see Neymar win. I joked in the group chat, man. I've seen Neymar cry them same tears over his whole career for Brazil. Every tournament, the Olympics,
Yeah.
you're
7-1
yeah,
Germany.
just Germany. Yeah, I've seen that a lot. So it's unfortunate that he never, got to win internationally. With Brazil. But thank you for the moments, thank you for the times, man, and enjoy retirement.
Yeah, like I said in the group chat, man, my heart is full. They gave everything they had, and I was glad to be, a fan to enjoy at least this era of football. Yeah, man. There's not much to say. They were at the highest high of their careers, and I mean, you can't ask for much more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would probably say two of the most influential players in football ever. I mean, when Ronaldo first came onto the scene, everybody wanted to wear the Vapors, the Mercurials, to get the mohawk with the wrist tape. You know what I'm saying? Like Ronaldo was really the one that started, like, you know how everybody has like the socks, like they don't have the foot part anymore because they cut them
Hmm.
and it's just like the sleeve. Bro, he
Yeah.
started that. And then like, even with Neymar, like, I mean, look at the way that like I don't think we'll ever see another player play the way Neymar does, and just like how he's inspired a whole generation as well too. So yeah, and what's ironic too is both teams that they lost to, when you look on the other side, it's like two of the emerging stars, right now. So like, obviously Erling Haaland is, waving Neymar goodbye, and Lamine Yamal is, at the center circle giving Ronaldo a hug, and it's like, damn, this is definitely the transitioning
Yeah.
of a new era.
Of the
But
new
yeah.
guard.
No, yeah, that's great, man. That's all I got for real.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah,
Well,
we're cooked.
hold
We're
on,
cooked. All these
before we
niggas are shitty now.
I'm dead. Before we get out here, I do have just one small shout out. I just want to give out shout out to my boyhood club, Ambassadors FC, in the MPSL. They actually just won today against Cleveland SC, which is a rival for them, to go to the conference championship in the
Hey,
MPSL. So
shout out
shout out to
Omar.
my boys. Shout out to my boy Jordy. Shout out to Diego. Shout out to my boy Swanee. Shout out to Omar. Good win today, 2-0 against Cleveland SC. If you are in the Ohio area in Cleveland, please go check them out on Sunday. That's where they'll be playing the final. But yeah, just want to give my boys a quick little shout out. Matt Love.
Shout out to them, man. Shout out to Omar. Speaking of Omars, there is an Omar I wanted to address before we got out of here.
Oh
Mr.
God.
World Class.
And that Omar is Omar Marmoush. My goodness. Howler of a take. You've made an absolute fool of me. I'm absolutely selling all stocks, bro. For you to be in the knockout phase, the knockout stage of the World Cup, and get benched, nah,
And
nah.
then even when he came on, they had a 3v2 and just
So are we officially stripping the world class from his name?
it don't
Gabriel,
need to be we. It need to be
Gabriel,
a
Yeah, it needs to
specific
be you.
hold
I
on,
need to hear it.
Gabriel, listen to me.
He can fuck off.
Hey, peace, y'all. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And hey, on some real stuff, man. Shout out to everybody. 1,000 YouTube subscribers,
Hey,
man.
mad
Thank
love,
you.
Hey,
y'all.
shout
Mad
out. No,
love.
that's massive, man. Thank you
1K.
But
for
Thank
that.
hey,
you
That
all.
is
Thank you.
massive.
Thank you.
hey,
Keep it 1K.
but I mean what I say, and I say what I
He
mean.
can fuck off.